Hello, everyone. My name is Brandon Faulkner. I am an intern with Village Core, and today I will be talking about um, iPhones and how to use iPhones, how to acquire one, and how to get set up and started. So if you miss any events like this, be sure to check out our YouTube channel or go to villagecore.org to see more events just like this that I host almost daily. So let's begin by first taking a look at the actual Apple website. Um, let's share my screen and go here. So as you can see here, I have the Village Core events page open. You can find us here, find different events and stuff, but I'm switching over to Apple to get a better look at what we have. So apple.com, the place where you go for all things Apple. You see, with Apple, Apple is a worldwide company, a very large worldwide company that specializes in technology. And they are very different from other technology companies. You see, there are technology companies such as Samsung, which produce Androids, which is one of the most common phones. But Apple is a completely different entity. Apple trademarks its own phones by creating the Apple brand, the iPhone brand, along with other things. So with Apple, there are many different versions of a specific phone that roll out based on a different period of time. Usually they are on the more expensive side, but there are other cheaper options. So if you do actually come to apple.com and you are looking to purchase a phone, whether it's online or at an actual Apple location, always be sure to check the price to see what you are getting and what suits you best. So if you were to go to an Apple store in person, Apple employees will be able to help you set up your phone, get everything ready, and kind of walk you through how to set it up and all that. But if you were looking to buy a phone online and not wanting to go to a store, you come to apple.com and begin your purchase here. So as you can see here above are listed many different versions of iPhones. So what Apple does is it gives kind of a large range of different types of iPhones that you are able to buy. Typically with an Apple release, there'll be two versions that come out or three. So as we can see here with the Apple 14 Pro, or with the Apple 14, that we have the Apple 14 and we have the Apple 14 Pro. So the thing about the Pro is it's usually more expensive, but it comes with more add-ons. And as you can see here, we have the iPhone 13, iPhone SE, iPhone 12. The iPhone SE will always be the cheapest phone. So if we click on the iPhone SE, we can see that it is one camera, and if it'll let me keep scrolling, we can see that it starts at $429. So if you are looking for a cheaper phone and one that doesn't usually have all the complications of a newer phone, such as the iPhone 14, which will cost around $799, the different Apple versions are the way to go. If you're looking for a kind of more basic phone and a kind of more cheaper phone. So the way this works is you'll hit the buy button on whatever phone you want to buy, and it'll bring you to a list of different things to kind of add on to your phone, whether or not you want a certain amount of data, certain amount of inch display also, so you can get a slightly smaller or a slightly bigger. As you can see here, this phone in particular, the iPhone 14, is 6.1 inch display, or the iPhone 14 Plus is a 6.7 inch display. Basically just means you have more screen. Doesn't really matter. You can select that. You can also pick your color. So say I want black. You can pick your data. Usually 256 gigabytes is good, but if you are wanting it a little bit cheaper, you get the 128 gigabytes, which is the amount of storage allocated to your phone. And then Apple does something really cool. So with Apple, when buying a phone, you can trade in one of your old phones if it is an Apple phone. If you have an Android phone or a flip phone or anything like that, you will not be able to trade it in. But with Apple, you'll be able to trade it in. So you'll be able to select your smartphone, and based on that smartphone's price and quality of that phone that you originally had, Apple will give you a kind of a discount off of the phone you're about to buy. And if you don't have one, you just hit no trade in and you don't have to select any options. So with Apple, there are different ways to actually buy the phone. If you were to go for the Apple, if you were actually to just buy it straight up, you can just buy it straight up for the price of $899, or you can finance the phone with your carrier or through Apple specifically. Or you can choose Apple's iPhone upgrade program, where just for around $45 a month for 24 months, you can slowly make payments to them to upgrade your phone from what it originally was. They'll also give you a list of what's in the box. So as you can see here, we have the iPhone and the iPhone charger. With the newer iPhones, you will not be receiving what is called the Lightning Cube. Typically, that comes with an iPhone charger. You'll actually have to buy that, which is kind of a bad way of making more money, but you will have to buy it. Or you can just buy it off Amazon. Whatever works for you is the best way to go about this. Now, actually setting up your phone is a completely different process. So with these phones, Apple will be happy to actually help you set it up. So they'll get your information, they'll get your basic information and what carrier you have specifically. And based on your carrier, there might be a deal on the phone or other things that are allocated towards the phone with your carrier. So say you have AT&T. With AT&T, Apple will reach out to AT&T, confirm who you are, confirm your account, and then your phone will be set up right there in the store for when you take it home. You can set it up yourself and select the different preferences that you want for your phone. So unfortunately, I do not have a new iPhone here to show you how to actually set it up. So I will be kind of walking you through the process with kind of not necessarily a demonstration, but kind of just telling you what it goes through. So when you first buy an iPhone, you'll of course start in the store and then you'll bring it home. When you first begin setting up, you always want to make sure that your phone is plugged into a charger when you're first setting up, because that way you can have some charge to your phone while you're setting up so you can use it once you're done setting it up. What Apple does is when you buy a phone, it does come a little bit charged so you can set it up, but it's typically best to charge it even more so you can spend a little bit more time on it when you're setting it up. So when you go through, Apple will prompt you with many different things. The first thing that Apple will prompt you with is whether or not you are in the United States or not. Apple will want to know your basic location, just to get a basic overview of what language you might speak. But say you live in the United States and you don't speak English as your primary language. You can switch this because usually Apple will say, okay, you live in the United States, you speak English, but you can switch this in the language section that pops up when you first open your phone up. Apple tries to incorporate every single language in the world, so you may be able to find the language that you most commonly speak right there in the Apple settings when you're setting it up. So say you speak German, you'll be able to set that up with Apple, and now your phone will be completely in German. Or say you speak Spanish, you can select that, and now your phone will be completely in Spanish. It's just dependent on where you live, who you are, and what language you speak. Then continuing on from there, Apple will prompt you with logging into Wi-Fi. The reason why Apple wants you to log into Wi-Fi immediately is because there'll be data transfers that are being made on the iPhone and different things setting up in the background as you are manually setting up your phone. So always make sure to connect to your Wi-Fi network or Wi-Fi network nearby in order to start that process. And when you do start that process, Apple will prompt you with another thing. It'll ask you whether or not you want to bring data from an old iPhone that you've had to the new iPhone, whether you want to bring data from a computer over to the phone, or whether or not you want to set up the iPhone completely free of any data that you have in the past. Now you see, when setting up, iPhone and Android are very different. So if you have an Android originally, you will not be able to transfer all that data over to your iPhone if you were to set it up yourself. If you were to set it up with a carrier, then your data may be able to be transferred over to that iPhone if you do have an Android. But typically, Apple only works with Apple. So always make sure to confirm that you do have a previous Apple device that you, with data that you want transferred over to another Apple device. Now that you have that set up, Apple will either begin transferring all of that data, or it'll begin to walk you through a few more steps if you don't want to transfer any data over. It'll ask you basically preferences on what you want with your iPhone. It'll ask you whether or not you have accessibility needs that need to be met. And if you do, there are a long range of accessibility needs on the iPhone. Say you can't really see the letters on your phone that well. Apple will let you go through and change that and make the letters a lot bigger in order for you to see what you're reading more clear. Or say you don't really like reading and you like things read out to you. Text-to-speech is text-to-speech is another option that Apple allows you to have. And now Apple has different mobility, along with hearing, along with seeing, compatibility with their newer phones and their newer updates. You see, now with Apple, you can connect your hearing aid to your phone. This is something actually relatively new that Apple has done. Typically, you do need to kind of contact your hearing aid provider, along with contacting Apple about how to kind of set it up, because it is kind of in the newer stages of being set up, but it is able to work with your phone. Along with that, Apple will also let you customize different things. It'll let you add in favorite contacts that you need or previously had. Say you have a loved one, family member, anything like that, doctor, anything like that. You can add it into your phone as you are setting it up. Now, from there, Apple will prompt you with a few more things. Say you have AirPods, which Apple sells along with the iPhone, which play audio and other things. Say you have AirPods. Apple will prompt you to connect those AirPods and set them up as well as you are setting up your phone. Another thing with Apple is the Siri function. As you are setting up your Apple phone, Apple will prompt you to apply Siri. So with Siri, what you can do is you can activate a button on your phone, or simply by saying the phrase, "Hey Siri," will activate your device in order to let you talk to your phone and get information. So as you set up your device, Apple will take you through and say, "Hey Siri, call mom." And Siri will actually go through and do that. Or "Hey Siri, text mom," and Siri will go ahead and do that for you. Now, once you actually enter in the phone, it'll be very basic. You'll have the basic apps and everything like that. So the basic apps that come with Apple are very simplistic and very basic, but they're also not. They're also to the Apple brand of what they're trying to do. So when you first open up your phone, you'll find numerous amounts of apps that you can either delete if you don't need them, or you can keep them if you want them. Some of those apps will be iMessage, Safari, different types of kind of presentation things, podcasts, music, things of that nature. And if you want to change this, of course, you can go to the Apple Store and download apps off of the Apple Store. That'll let you do more things with your phone. Also, with customization of your phone, you can customize it to actually look like this. So Apple now allows customization, which I won't really get into much, but you can customize it to enhance your background on your phone. But now let's get into actually how to use your iPhone, how to actually make calls, make texts, do everything of that nature. So I unfortunately am not on iPhone currently, so it's going to be a little bit harder for me to show you. So I'm kind of going to give you a visual of how to actually do this. So if it's not going to work, okay. Well, I'm just going to kind of talk you through it, and hopefully it'll help you. When you first want to turn on your phone, you'll tap on the screen and your phone will come alive. Now, with this, you'll see a flashlight and a camera button. And on top of that, you'll see the time. With the newer iPhones, there are no actual buttons on the screen as older generations. If you want an iPhone SE for a little bit of more simplicity, you will have access to an actual button on the bottom of your phone that'll let you kind of click through different apps and allow you to unlock with Touch ID. Now, with the newer generations of iPhone, they don't have that. So when opening up your phone, as you can see, there's no button there. You'll actually have to swipe up on that little white bar that you were seeing there. You have to swipe up. And typically, if you have Face ID set up, which is a system by Apple that recognizes your face to the user that you have, and it'll unlock your phone for you. Or if you don't, Apple will prompt you to put in a passcode, which you can set up in settings, and that also lets you set this up as you are activating your phone. You'll be prompted to put in your passcode. So say I want to open my phone with a passcode, I'll swipe up and type in my passcode. So say I want to make my passcode 1234. I will be able to do that, and now my phone is unlocked. Once you open your phone, you'll be met with a home page of different apps that you have downloaded onto your phone. To navigate different apps, you can simply click on them if they are on the page that you're currently looking at, or you can swipe to your left to go to the next page of apps that you have on your phone if you have a ton of apps on your phone. Another thing, if you want a little bit more of organization with the apps on your phone, is you can hold down on your screen till it kind of clicks in your hand, and now you're in editing mode of apps. So now you can create folders, you can drag around apps to where you want them to be, or you can add different what are called widgets to your phone that'll tell you the weather, the news, anything of your choosing that has a widget will be there. So typically with my phone, I try to keep everything neat and clean on it. So I have different folders dedicated to social media, dedicated to gaming, dedicated to food, productivity, travel, and education. That is typically what I use, and some of the more important apps are out of these folders, such as messages, music, and phone calls. We are running a little bit out of time, but I'll kind of tell you how to make phone calls. So when you want to make phone calls, there are two different versions of phone calls that you can make. One that is visual and one that is visual and audio, and one that is audio specific. So this visual and audio one is called FaceTime. It's kind of like Zoom that we are on now, except it's between one person and another. There are group FaceTime calls that you can do, but typically FaceTime is with only one person. and that's through the FaceTime app, where you just click on your contact, and if they have another Apple phone, you can FaceTime with them, and you can see their face, and if they turn the camera around, you can see the visuals behind them or in front of them. Now with the phone app, it's strictly audio. So once again, you'll be able to type in any phone numbers, or say you want to call the police for some reason, you can just type in 911 into the dial pad, and you'll be able to place your phone calls. You can also listen to your voicemails, activate your keypad, go to your contacts lists, activate your recent calls in case you missed somebody's calls, and you can see your favorites list. So say you want to access a family member's phone and you want to call them. You can add them to your favorites list, and that number will populate in the favorites list zone, and you can simply tap on that person, it'll make the phone call. So me personally, I have my mom as my favorite, so I can just click on her name, and it'll immediately place a call to her. It's like it's like an instant call. So that's basically how you use that function of the phone. With contacts, you can go through and see your list of different contacts. So say you want to find somebody, but you don't remember if they're in your phone or not, you can go down your contacts list and try to find that person. You can say, hey, I know this person. I'm going to click on their name and I'm going to call them, or I'm going to text them. And that's kind of how and so of course with texting, iMessage is kind of specific to Apple. So if they have another Apple device, their text messages will be blue, and you'll be able to send bigger files, bigger messages, voice memos, different emoticons, different things like that to that person. But if their texts are green, that means you're texting an Android user, and some of those functions on the Apple iPhone will not work along with an Android. So is there anybody with any questions here? Let's take a look. Any questions? Any questions? For poor vision, in settings, there are different accessibilities for people to use. So in accessibilities, there's a function called zoom. So with zoom, you can increase the font size, or if you have the font size increased a lot and you still can't see it, zoom will allow you to zoom in on certain places that you are looking at on your phone and allow you to enhance that place to get a better visual on what you are looking at. Any other questions? All right. One other thing that I kind of wanted to talk about was kind of the newer functions that are being added to Apple. Say you are sick and losing your voice. Apple now, with the newer updates that Apple produces, will now be able to generate an AI version of your voice in order to make phone calls for you or send text messages for you. So with this function, what it does is you'll be given 150 prompts while you're setting up this new function. When doing so, it'll basically run through kind of what you might say to a person, so that when a phone call comes through, you can text out what you want to say, and that text will be translated into your voice on the other end of the line for that person. So that is a newer function that is being added to Apple in September of this year, that they're trying out with kind of how that works. So it's called Personal Voice, and it's an AI version of yourself. So me talking to you right now, you would hear my voice coming over to you simply by me typing in what I want to say, and my voice will come through just as you hear it now. But yeah, that's really all I have for you guys today. So my name is Brandon Faulkner. I'm an intern for VillageCore. Be sure to check us out on villagecore.org or on YouTube to find out other things like this. Typically, I talk about different tech or different websites that you may want to use, or I interview some pretty cool people who have pretty cool stories about what they want, about what they're doing in any field that you may be interested in. So thank you very much for being here with me today.